Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. So, I want to talk to y'all, just try to help you see what's going on. I know most of my people can see, but I have some new followers. So, I want to keep y'all abreast of how the gradual decline of the empire is going and how it's going to happen. We talked about the movie Leave the World Behind in December when it came out, and how um, the homeowner, the black guy, basically talked about his client playing the long game, and uh, this Department of Defense plan or war plan to have America, or a nation, not particular America, a nation fall from the inside, and do it through civil war and then a coup. Um, and so this is the peak of the season for the irritations that will lead to the civil unrest and then the coup d'etat. But what we need to understand is there will be no one coming to save us, because all of our people are scattered all over the world. Our people are going to be told to stand down, and our people are going to be told to support the illegal entrants and not the natives or the citizens. So I want to show you this video of police being attacked in New York. Now, these are illegal entrants. They were treated better than American citizens, allowed to leave um, jail the next day, something that a black person would never be able to do. A black person wouldn't even be able to get up from the fight hardly, because they'd be killed. And a white person would probably be in jail, but it could possibly still have been out. But they wouldn't get the grace that these illegal entrants receive because of the law. And this is where it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican. Our Congress is broken, irretrievably broken, and it will not be repaired. And it's intentional, it's by design. These people are not trying to address immigration in a way that would protect the nation's borders, because the goal is to have a world without borders. And so we're being flooded with all sorts of people who are not good people, who will come and destabilize our cities, scatter throughout the um, nation, destabilize other areas, rob, steal, pillage, do whatever, because they're not going to have any resources to survive. Whatever they were given is going to run out, because one, the citizens will get tired, and the county and local governments will be overextended and not be able to deal with the with being overrun by thousands of illegal entrants. You just can't put people into communities that quickly and expect them to be absorbed in, not without a plan, not without jobs, not without housing, not without um, retraining language. It's almost like refugee resettlement without the structure. And so they've done this stuff on purpose, and you can see it. But what I want to focus on is the bad part that's going to impact all of us. And this is why you're going to need protection to protect yourself, especially if you live in a major city. So watch this video.
Lawlessness of Democrat cities colliding with Joe Biden's open borders insanity. Two NYPD police officers getting outnumbered and savagely beaten by a large group of illegal immigrants near Times Square. Those cops were just trying to break up a disorderly crowd outside a shelter, trying to arrest one of the illegals, and that's when the mob attacked. One of the thugs kicking an officer in the face while he's on the ground. He suffered a cut to his face, and the other officer was injured. 5 of those violent suspects were arrested by police later that same night, charged with assaulting a police officer, but 4 of them already back on the street, released without bail. And get this, they were only in custody for 3 hours. And we're getting new video of that fifth migrant in court today. One NYPD chief says all of those cop-beating migrants should be locked up.
Reprehensible. Cowards. You have 8 people attacking a lieutenant and a cop. The 4 that were arrested should be sitting in Rikers right now, on bail. Should be indicted this week and taken off our streets. You want to know why our cops are getting assaulted? There's no consequences, and we must change this.
Even New York Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul's outraged, and she's floating the D word.
Why is it okay that they are left out on bail?
I'm not satisfied with that at all. These are law enforcement officers who should never, under any
Okay, so they never tell you that, so they don't give you the answer to the question. She just hops right over that. So the reporter was asking her, why are they, released right out of jail? The gist of it all is it's the law. When you're an illegal immigrant, if you commit a crime, they can book you, but they cannot keep you. They can only keep you, I think, for like 24 hours, and then you're right back on the streets. And it's no different than an illegal entrant driving without a driver's license. I know if you live in a sanctuary city or a place where you have a lot of migrant workers or illegal people who work under the table, they somehow get cars. They don't have car insurance. They don't have a driver's license. If it was you and I, they would lock us up. They charge us a big fine. They'd keep us depending on what offense it was, and we'd have to pay a fine to get out or sit in jail until our trial, and then you face your punishment. Well, with illegal immigration or immigration in general, they have a totally different set of rules, so they don't have to stay in jail. So short of killing somebody, even if they commit like felonies, like this would be a felony. If they didn't kill someone, they don't stay in jail. They get right out because the systems aren't equipped to process them, and they get due process like we get due process, but it's a different type of due process, almost like through an international court type of thing. So if you go and look at the illegal, the immigration laws, federal immigration laws, like states don't have any recourse whatsoever, but states have been flooded with all these illegal entrants, and the federal government understands that these states can't do anything to them once they're there, and the states don't have the resources to get them out. So states don't have money like the federal government to put them on airplanes and fly them back to wherever they came from, and they don't have that type of resource because it's not their job. The state's jobs are to protect the people in their states and keep people out of the states who shouldn't be crossing into the state illegally. The government's job is to keep people from coming into the country illegally and protect the citizens of the country and keep the country intact. Well, the federal government isn't doing its job, so states can't do their job. And then you got all these theatrics where you had these Democratic governors who were, playing with the plan, oh, we're going to have sanctuary cities, and yes, we'll take anyone. And now the people are here. Those individuals are catching flack, and people are actually seeing what's going on and waking up. And now they're trying to pretend like they're doing something. Flip side, the Republicans aren't trying to do anything to close the borders. They are just basically trying to get something. It's like a power grab. I'll do this for you if you do this for me, like a bartering or just political ploys. And so nothing ever gets done. You just can't get straight immigration business done. And it's been going on for so long. But I will say, and both parties are at fault, because you look at a lot of Republican leaning voters who hire illegal entrants on their farms allegedly to do work that nobody else will do. Um, Unfortunately, it's a double-edged sword for them because of the history of enslavement in this country. People who would ordinarily do that work are not going to do it because they have been abused. The legacy of abuse of working for a white man on a farm, um, and there's never been any recompense, any reparations, and there's no oversight to make sure it doesn't happen again. So it's just a modern form of slavery, and people don't want to do that. And that's the elephant in the room people don't want to talk about. So they get these illegal interests to come here and do that work. They don't have the stigma and the history that we have, and they don't have the history and the stigma that white people have. They're your new slaves, but they don't think they're their new slaves. They think that they come here and they're working harder. They don't understand anything about white supremacy except for they're brainwashed by it, and they have been taught to believe, um, we're lazy. No, we just don't want to be abused, and mistreated. If you think that that's good, then good for you. But that's not how the chosen people are supposed to be treated. Even if we have to work as servants, we shouldn't be slaves. We should be servants, and we should have fair compensation, housing, and when our deal is up, we should be able to leave. That doesn't often happen because the system is made up on usury. So, what we're seeing now is the crumbling of that system, and it is by design. If they wanted this to continue to work, it could continue to work right without all this commotion, but it's intentionally designed to um, be disruptive as it is, because we gotta be all upset so that we can be fearful, and that so we'll want to fight. We'll want to fight with these people. We'll want to fight with our local government officials. We'll want to fight our government, and we will take sides. And it's only going to be two sides. Every choice is going to just be two sides. It's going to be citizens against illegal entrants, state government against federal government, Republicans versus Democrat, white people and people who side with white people and white supremacy, and black people. Those who sympathize with black people, those who are um, Gentiles and choose to cleave unto the chosen people, however you want to say it. It's always going to be two sides. And so here in this particular video, you're seeing illegal entrance against authority. You got to understand what you're seeing, and then you got to figure out what are they trying to program me with. So I'm not saying that I'm pro police or pro illegal entrance. I just want to show you the setup that's coming for the civil unrest that will be coming, and to help you prepare. These people who have been released into these cities, they're going to be just roaming after a while because the cities are going to stop serving them. They're going to be breaking into people's houses. They're going to be snatching purses. They're going to be doing all sorts of things to survive. That's just life. It doesn't matter if they're illegal entrant or they're just a regular old homeless person. People going to do what they got to do to survive. If they're alive, they got hands and feet and a healthy brain, they're going to do what they got to do to survive. And if that means they got to take from you in order to do that, then that's what's going to happen. And so if you live in a city, you need to understand this and you need to be prepared. Even if you don't live in a city, if you live in close proximity to a city where people are being dumped or people could possibly come, if you have a community with a lot of farmland and people, hire illegal entrants or a lot of these meat processing plants like we have in our area that hire pretty much nothing but illegal entrants. This is what we're going to have to deal with. So we don't know who's in our community. We we have to assume that these people are coming to us. A lot of these people are coming to our communities because this is a part of the coup d'etat, even at your local and state government levels. So you got to pay attention to what is happening. This is just a prelude of what is to come. There's going to be a lot of unrest. There's going to be a lot of division. There's going to be a lot of disrespect for laws. Laws are not going to work. And eventually it's going to be like the purge in a Wild Wild West. So if you do not have a means to protect yourself, because law enforcement, police not going to be walking around here getting beat up by folks. They're going to quit. You're going to have fewer police. The military going to be gone. They're going to be all over the world because America is trying to start as many wars as they can so they can ship them all over the place. You won't have military. Your National Guard is going to be going to try to help other states protect their borders if they're not federalized. And then if they are federalized, then the states will be fighting with the federal government. So you'll have citizens fighting each other, National Guards fighting citizen federalized military. We are being set up for failure. And if you think you're going to be able to stay here, you are insane. If you are not trying to live your life to get out of here, be found worthy of escape, you are crazy. It's not going to end well for us. If you're still trying to hold on to stuff, you still, I hate to be negative, but like if you're not trying to do stuff to prepare to sustain yourself for what's coming, you're going to have a really difficult time making it. All this stuff about going to school and getting these degrees, and there's so much stuff that doesn't matter right now, but I can't tell people how to feel and what to invest in. But there are some things that are getting ready to happen this year and it's going to happen so quickly. None of this other stuff that people are concerned with is going to matter. They're going to let y'all have the little Super Bowl because that's just a few weeks away. They got to keep you numb. They got to keep us distracted. They got to keep us hyped up. But as soon as they get ready to pull the wool, as soon as they get ready to transition the system, they keep talking about these cyber pandemics and cyber attacks, and there are all these warnings. Big stuff is about to happen. Between March and April, a lot of stuff is going to happen. After April, all hell probably going to break loose because it's the summertime. All these little things, these little discomforts are leading up to the big things that are coming. So continue to prepare. But let me finish playing this video for you.
Circumstances be subjected to physical assault.
Those individuals be deported.
I think that's absolutely something that should be looked at. I mean, if someone commits a crime against a police officer in the state of New York, and they're not, they've not processed, they're not here legally, definitely worth checking into.
Okay, so they're going to, Greg, check into.
What an ass. Number one, does she even, this happens to citizens all the time, right? And now she's shocked that it happened to cops. Look, the Democratic Party needs to change its name to the BPP, the Breaking Point Party. Because in every facet of society now, we're at its breaking point, whether it is crime and immigration, which is now meeting right there on the street, education, division, foreign policy. Every place there's unfettered progressivism, you end up with chaos. And that is a microcosm of chaos. You have order represented by the police, and you have chaos represented by thugs. Now, if you point out this situation, you're talking about a policy. What is wrong with the policy? But the moment you talk about this, the left will say you're talking about people. And this is what they do with trans rights. This is what they do with everything. It's like, but they always twist it so that you're referring to the people. But immigrants are wonderful. We're not arguing that, right? We're addressing what's wrong with a policy. And it's one that progressives create without ever factoring the consequences, which is what the police officer just said. They never factor in the consequences. So then you end up with incentivizing criminals to do whatever they want, which is what they're doing. And another problem with Democrats, Jessica, they're always upstream from the mistakes they cause, right? All of their blunders are felt downstream, like in Times Square by a cop. Or maybe it's a pedestrian or someone on the subway. Yet, for some reason, liberal leaders can afford such mistakes because the consequences never get near them. So you have a governor basically faking like she cares. But she doesn't, because if she cared, she would have done something about the crime in the city a long time ago.
And it's a sanctuary city, Dana. So there's a good chance.
Well, as far as New York and crime goes, y'all know they had to stop and frisk. And so when it comes to crime, you have to be really careful when you're listening to white people talk, because anytime they talk about crime, they're always talking about Black and Hispanic people. And that policy of stop and frisk had been found to just be not productive. It violated the civil rights of young Black and brown males, and gave a whole lot of people criminal records that wouldn't otherwise have had one had it not been for such policies. The broken window, I think they call it broken windows policy. But anyway, they love to start talking about crime because they want to get in more police. They always want to get more police. They always want to have more cameras. They're always looking for ways to get money for policing. That is the biggest red herring. Like, this is why we're under surveillance now. This is how we got the Patriot Act. This is how we got to where we are just basically about to be under complete surveillance in every aspect of our lives, because we always fall for the scared, got to be tough on crime. We need more police. We got to have all these tactics. And they come put all this stuff in, and people become acquainted with it, feel like it is making them safer. They'll tell you things are getting better. You don't look at the statistics. You don't look at the studies that prove this stuff is not accurate. And you just go on about your lives. But you gotta finally get hip to the BS. Like, none of this stuff is real. All of it is manufactured chaos. And so when you understand that, and you understand that all of it was made for this particular time right here, for the fall of the old Roman Empire and the transition to this last global world order, you see all the BS and you don't believe it. And so while we're watching this, and yeah, it is happening, it's orchestrated. It's orchestrated chaos. They need chaos so that they can bring the order. And that's what you're seeing. We're seeing chaos, and it's being given to us by the powers so that they can transition us into this new system. We're all going to be collateral damage. And this is why you got to prep. This is why you got to protect yourself. This is why it's good to have all the things that you need in your home now. This is why you need to have PPE, personal protection, equipment, whatever equipment you feel is good for you. The more equipment, the better. That's what I'm going to say.
Chance they'll never be deported.
But also, don't you think that those 3 that are out already, they're already back in shelters that you're paying for?
Right.
And that's pretty gross. What better sentence that sums up the Biden administration than this one? Illegal immigrant mob beats up officers released immediate without bail. So I am like, okay,
You got
yeah,
everything.
that's in one sentence. You got it right there. You don't even need to pay 30 seconds for a commercial for it. Paul Morrow, the Fox News contributor, former NYPD officer, said today that there's indication, he's heard from sources there in the police force, that there's organized pickpocketing happening by Venezuelan gangs. What do we know that Biden did? He said, okay, if you're Venezuelan, you can come because we feel bad for you because things are terrible there.
Paroled them.
Things are terrible there, right? So you get to come and you get to live here and you get to do this to our people. And the other thing that happened in New York City, that you've got a mayor who tried to override a city council vote that's going to make officers take a note anytime he comes into contact with a citizen. You have to go back and file a paperwork in triplicate form. And the mayor tried to override it. We had a mom on Newsroom this morning who's devastated by it. She tried to fight for the mayor and say, my daughter was killed last year. They never would have found her murderer if the cops had to do this. Please don't do this. And they overrode the mayor's veto, not by just a little bit, 42-9. So the city is, I think, at a breaking point in particular. And we, as Hammer told me today, it's like, we have too much to lose here.
Well, Democrats have been voting for this, and this is what you get. Jessica, you're up.
Great. Happy to be here. So it's a terrible situation. There's no defense of it, and it's not really about necessarily that this is a sanctuary city, because there are migrants that are being bused to non-sanctuary cities, and I think it really does come down to Kathy Hochul executing that idea that if you are a migrant and you are here illegally, that you are deported right away, that you have harsher penalties for doing something like this because you're here out of the good graces of our heart. And we've been talking about that consistently, you know, with migrants that are on the street pushing people out of hotels, pushing people out of schools. We're going to talk about that as well. Out of rec centers, closing those down because they have to move migrant families into them. I think there should be harsher penalties for that. And I went back and looked at the legislative history of Kate's Law. Remember the law that was created for Kate Stein Lee, the 32-year-old woman in San Francisco who was murdered by an undocumented man who I think had been deported 6 times or something like that. And it passed the House in 2017. It had 24 Democrats that voted for it. And it still needs to get through the Senate, and Ted Cruz reintroduced it again last year. I think that this is a moment where people are feeling this so deeply that something like that could get passed, and I think that
That ain't gonna help nobody. That ain't gonna help. These people already here. It's millions of people here. It's not gonna help. So anyway, you see how they just go round and round and round. They tell you, oh, we're gonna introduce this law. Then the law will be passed, and they won't uphold the law because they just won't. So there's no need to count on laws. We live in a lawless nation now, and people can do whatever they want to do, and citizens basically don't really have any rights anymore. I guess that's the best way to say it. On paper you do, but like in reality, no. So I just wanted to highlight this. I'm not going to go on. I'll put the link to this video in the description so that you can rewatch it. To me, a little bit, this whole thing, it looked kind of fake. The people pulling the cops, like, you know, they made the video appear worse than it was, or they replayed it and talked about how dramatic it was. Yes, the police were attacked, but like not really attacked. Those police act like they didn't have any. Anyway, I'm just gonna be quiet. You could look at the video a couple of times and just start seeing stuff, and be like, "Wait a minute, this everybody don't look like they're really fighting. It's not as violent as the media portrayed it to be. There's no sound, so we don't know what was said prior to. We don't know what happened. You only got a glimpse. So you have to be also careful about these events that we're seeing because they are made to make us feel a way. All I'm telling you is it's a setup. And so we're being invaded and we're being divided so that we can be easily conquered. So as we go through this process, you need to prepare, because these people in these cities are not going to be able to, they're not going to be able to sustain all these people. And these people are going to be scattering out all over the country. They're going to be roaming. They're going to be hopping on trains and going to different towns and showing up, getting in cars and going places, stealing people's money, breaking into people's houses. A lot of stuff going to happen because these people got to survive. And notice, these are young men. These are not women and children, somebody who may ask you for something or you may see and feel sorry for. People are not going to feel sorry for these young men, and these young men know it. So they're going to take whatever it is that they need. They're going to be in little gangs, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. There's nothing your police are going to be able to do about it. They're not going to be deported. They go to jail. They don't get out the next day. If you have any losses, you're just going to take the L. So y'all know what you're best to be trying to do. I don't have to say it out loud. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. You got to preserve yourself. And the Creator did not intend for us to just be defenseless and not fight back. So I'm saying all that to say is, y'all take care of yourselves out here in these mean, cruel, invaded streets, because nobody else is going to take care of you. And eventually, all the infrastructure and laws and things that we have will fail, because people, human beings, are not going to be subjected to that type of abuse. People are going to be overwhelmed. People are going to be tired. People are not going to have enough resources to take care of these individuals. Communities will not have enough resources. Communities will start pushing back because their own people, their own homeless, can't get the resources that are given to people who are illegal. And folks are going to start pushing back. And so people will start quitting. People will start half doing their jobs. People will just not care. And so you can't have a society with all these different things that are going on. Not that it was functional and functioning well, but it's really not going to function now. So as the year goes on, things are going to only get worse. Count on it. So do your part to protect yourself. All right, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. Make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel. YouTube is unsubscribing people left and right. Follow me on Odyssey, Rumble, Instagram, and on Facebook. The links are in the description. All of my old content on YouTube is backed up on Rumble and on Odyssey. Lastly, if you'd like to support the channel financially, I have links to my Coffee and my Venmo in the description. Your donations are greatly appreciated. These are courageous acts we all are undertaking during these last hours of the empire standing, because we could possibly lose our lives. Y'all just don't even know the half. But anyway, any contributions that you give to myself and others will be greatly appreciated during this awakening. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High. Pray to be found worthy to escape what's coming. Obey those laws, statutes, and commandments, and come out of this system. There's nothing that's going to save you. Nothing that you do is going to save you. If you're not trying to develop some survival skills and learn how to fight and defend yourself, those are the most valuable, precious things that you could be doing right now. Putting away resources for hard times and trying to do what you can to figure out how to navigate what's coming. And lastly, repent for your sins of commission and sins of omission, and turn away from your sins so that you can be found worthy to escape what's coming, because we're not going to be able to do much our individual selves. And it looks like they're trying to keep us from getting together to protect ourselves. If it's 3 or more people, we're in trouble. Well, more than 3 people. I think it's 3, but it may not be able to be. You may not be able to have more than 2 people. So if you can't gather in large groups to train to protect yourself or to do anything that appears to be paramilitary or basically a militia. So we are in a lot of trouble. That's all I gotta say. You have to read between the lines, go back and watch some of these old videos. There ain't nothing good going on, y'all. I don't have nothing good to tell you. This not the happy news station. If you want a happy news, go someplace else where people lie to you and keep you distracted. I can't do that. The world is changing. The world is about to transition, and it's going to start with America. They need to bring us to our knees so that we can collapse the global economy and they can create the new economy. So just make sure you are understanding what's happening and preparing. That's all I want. I want for my people to be prepared. Warn others as you can, but don't be discouraged if they don't get it. It's not for everybody to see. And some people are just not going to be here. And that is the will of the Most High. You don't have anything to do with it. Just don't have any blood on your hands by having the opportunity to share, and you don't. All right, y'all. This is Marty K. Love y'all. And I am out of here.